The story begins with Ed Roth Taylor, the unruly son of a noble family, who once reigned supreme in the academy like king. However, his reckless behavior led to his expulsion from both his family and the dormitory. Taylor, along with his belongings, is unceremoniously thrown out. The other students, who once feared his tyranny, now breathe a sigh of relief knowing they won't have to face him next semester. It's all Taylor's fault, really. He tried to cheat on the entrance exam. But the real twist is that the person behind the cheating wasn't the tyrannical Taylor anymore. It was the protagonist of the story. In a strange turn of events, the protagonist finds himself in the game The Failed Swordman, a game where players usually start as overpowered characters. Yet, our protagonist ends up inhabiting the body of a third-rate villain who has just been expelled from the dorms at the start of the game. Furious and feeling deeply wronged by this turn of events, Taylor, now the protagonist, shouts in frustration. Nearby students call him a scoundrel, mocking his claims after everything he's done. Among his belongings, he discovers a mirror that reveals his stats. Despite being at a magic academy, his intellect is abysmally low, and his stamina is pitifully weak. It's no surprise. He's a third-rate villain who only appears to be beaten up. The protagonist, feeling a pang of sympathy for his new body, recalls the fate of Ed from the game. In the post-credits scene, it's shown that Ed's destiny is to become a beggar wandering the streets. This revelation shakes the protagonist to his core. He's now in the body of this beggar. Uncertain about why he's possessing this body, he's nonetheless determined to change his fate. The school is practically a city located on Mount Aran. To escape the curious eyes of other students, he retreats to the underdeveloped forest. The journey takes him a considerable amount of time, but it also gives him a chance to fully grasp his current situation. Although Taylor has been expelled from his family and dorm, he's still officially part of the school. This is extremely important since Sylvania is a top-tier academy, and graduating from it guarantees a secure future. If he can graduate, he'll have the chance to lead a comfortable and leisurely life. His primary objective is to achieve graduation, but as a prestigious institution, Sylvania comes with steep tuition fees. Without family support, his only option is to try for a scholarship, but his current stats are far too low to be considered. Before he can even think about tuition, there are more pressing concerns: shelter, clothing, and food. At least clothing isn't a problem. He has plenty in his suitcase. However, he has no place to sleep at night, and due to his terrible reputation, securing a job is impossible. For now, his only option is to remain in the forest. Thankfully, he won't die of thirst, as there's a stream nearby. Taylor knows he needs to become fit if he's going to attend this prestigious school. To his surprise, he discovers that he can use windblade magic. However, his terrible stamina means that even something as simple as cutting a few pieces of wood leaves him utterly exhausted. This exhaustion, combined with hunger, only worsens his situation. He recalls his grandfather's stories about eating tree bark when food was scarce. Determined to make do, Taylor lights a fire using his magic and sets up a chalice as a makeshift pot to cook the wood. The result looks somewhat like chicken breast, but as soon as he takes a bite, he immediately vomits. After a day of starvation and another of vomiting, he concludes that wood is better suited for building shelters than for eating. His first priority is to construct a basic shelter. He sets out to gather 4 supports for the cabin. Working alone proves challenging. He struggles with the weight of the wood and even falls a few times. Nevertheless, he uses every ounce of his strength to lift the logs and tie them together. Despite the difficulties, he reluctantly uses his clothes to cover the ground of his makeshift cabin. After a grueling day, he finally finishes the rudimentary shelter. Just as he collapses in exhaustion, a system message appears, congratulating him on completing his first basic structure. Exhausted but relieved, Taylor, the beggar, remarks that at least the creation system is working. Having lived his life as a noble, he realizes that he might have more talent with his hands than with magic. To aid in hunting, he crafts a simple harpoon and heads to the lake to catch some fish. His sheer determination is the only thing pushing him forward after so many days of hunger. Against the odds, Taylor manages to catch 2 fish. Using his ignition magic, he fries them to a crisp. Just as he's about to enjoy his hard-earned meal, he notices someone approaching, one of the main characters from the academy, and also the person who left Taylor in this situation, Princess Phonia.